What a sobering thought it must be to realize the faction for which you've stood your entire life is not so different from the one you'd opposed and named evil in ages past. When the War of the Five Kings laid bare the truth about the petty squabbles between the Seven Kingdoms, even the North, for all its mortal adherence, was shown to house warmongering, bloodthirsty men at heart. Still, there were some who yet clutched to their sense of right and wrong, but their allegiance shifted. No longer did they follow one great house over another, but instead a wandering collection of rogues who seemed to truly have the good of the land and its people in mind. One such lost soul was Harwin. Hello everyone, and welcome back to Exploring Fiction. Formerly a devout vassal of House Stark, Harwin was sent on a vital mission at the onset of the war, but due to a combination of circumstance, desperation, and harsh truth, saw for himself that in wartime, little separated Stark forces from those of the hated Lannisters. Both factions cared little for the plight of the common folk, and so Harwin instead joined what was left of the initial force sent out to bring the mountain to justice. The Brotherhood without banners welcomed Harwin as a founding member, and even when he was spied by the spawn of his former masters, he could not return to what once was. The war changed Harwin, or at least opened his eyes to how the world and the people in it could act in times of strife. So, who exactly is Harwin, and why is he such an interesting character? Let's explore. Harwin was born on or around the year 271 AC in the north, to Hullen and his wife. Hullen served as the master of horse for the Starks at Winterfell, and so Harwin spent most of his early years at the Great Stronghold. Like many other bannermen of House Stark, he aided in raising the Stark children, especially Robb, Arya, and Jon Snow. Though he was known to drink too much at feasts, Harwin was soon promoted to a member of the household guard of House Stark. Harwin was stocky and clean-shaven, with dark hair and eyes, and the brash voice of a hardy young man. He was armed and armored as a member of House Guard ought to be, and he was never far from the side of his lords or ladies. The first appearance of Harwin in A Song of Ice and Fire comes in the first novel, A Game of Thrones. He is among those accompanying Lord Eddard Stark and his children when they stumble upon the litter of direwolf pups in the north, and soon follows his charge south to King's Landing. On the road, Harwin only sits in silence as Sandor Clegane hunts and kills the innocent butcher's boy Micah for supposedly offending Prince Joffrey, earning him the ire of Arya Stark, who always saw him as a just man. Once the king and his new hand arrive at the capital, Harwin is one of many to take part in the festivities. He fares poorly, however, bowing out of the joust in the first round. But the time for celebration quickly subsides, as tensions rise and a king is felled, sending the Seven Kingdoms hurtling for destruction. In his lone act seated on the Iron Throne, Lord Eddard Stark demands Sir Gregor Clegane be brought to justice for his crimes against the folk of the realm, and he names Lord Beric Dondarrion the man for the task. But the Lightning Lord will not go alone. Along with many others, Lord Eddard sends his own man Harwin out with Beric's force, though it is unlikely either man knows they will never see the other again. Though he does not appear in A Clash of Kings, Harwin resurfaces in A Storm of Swords. Having become a lone and lost wolf, Arya Stark stalks through the Riverlands, driven by the primal urge to survive and the thirst for revenge. In her travels, she falls into the company of the Brotherhood without banners, and among them is a familiar face. Though she does not recognize him at first, Arya soon realizes one of the Brotherhood's members is none other than Harwin. At first, she is relieved to spy an old friend, but Harwin is clearly far from the same man who'd served her house eternities ago. A beard now graces his stout chin, and his eyes are colder and hardened by his experiences in the war. He explains to her that of the 20 Winterfell men dispatched by Lord Eddard to quell the mountain's crimes, Only 6 survive, and they are scattered across the land. When Arya attempts to escape from the band's clutches, Harwin rides her down and brings her back into captivity. He compliments her, saying that she reminds him of her late Aunt Lyanna, but now it is clear Harwin's loyalties truly lie with the Brotherhood. Any hope Arya had gathered of rebuilding an old allyship through their common ties to the north is dispelled. Along with his comrades in the Brotherhood, Harwin clashes with the brave companions at the Septry. And afterward, when young Lord Edric Dane has tainted Arya's image of her father, Harwin dismisses the rumors of Eddard's infidelity. And after the Red Wedding, once Arya has escaped the Brotherhood's clutches, Harwin is amongst those who spy the pale corpse of Lady Catelyn Stark on a riverbank near the Twins. Harwin pleads with Thoros of Myr to revive her through the blessings of the Lord of Light, but the Pink Priest refuses. Instead, it is Beric Dondarrion, himself weary of life, who grants this gift to Catelyn. He bends down, and passes the essence granted him by Thoros and his god into the shell of the former Lady of Winterfell, killing himself and creating Lady Stoneheart. In A Feast for Crows, the Brotherhood without banners fractures under its new leadership, as many members abandon it for the strict alteration in goals and practices. Harwin, however, remains at Lady Stoneheart's side, and he is even seen by Brienne of Tarth to be the ghastly woman's translator for the mumbling, warbled speech that escapes her grey gullet. Initially, Harwin is as loyal a man as Winterfell has ever seen. He stands as a dutiful member of the household guard of the Starks, protecting the family and even proving a mentor figure for the children. When Lord Eddard Stark is called upon to serve as Hand to the King, Harwin is among those who follow him to King's Landing as part of his personal retinue. But the Land of the Crown is not the North. It is instead a place where everyone must watch their backs, and when the King Robert Baratheon himself succumbs to a suspicious hunting injury, Lord Eddard takes charge but for a moment. He sends out a company to bring down the rogue Sir Gregor Clegane, and Harwin is one of the few to personally represent Eddard and his house in this endeavor. But soon after their departure, Eddard too is cut down, and his troop of crusaders soon morphs into the Brotherhood without banners. The Brotherhood, despite their previous allegiances, have no lord or king, save for the people of Westeros themselves. And though he does not distinguish himself in any heroic or villainous manner, Harwin serves as one of its founding members. Even when the Brotherhood captures Arya Stark, he does not return to his old ways. Before him stands a daughter of Winterfell, a girl he knew personally for many years, and with her, a chance to renew his oaths to his original liege lord. Instead, Harwin stands firm with the Brotherhood of miscreants created through the plight and bloodshed of war. When Arya attempts to escape, it is Harwin who rides her down and drags her back to the Hollow Hill. The Lost Wolf attempts to appeal to his emotional and psychological ties to the North, but Harwin is adamant about his current position. As a part of the Brotherhood, he has witnessed firsthand the atrocities of war, even come to clash with some of the greatest culprits Westeros has ever seen, including the Mountain and Vargo Hoat. Like his brothers in arms, Harwin comes to realize that evil acts are not only committed by one side. Of course, the Lannisters and their men terrorize the countryside and pillage, plunder, and kill without discretion. But even worse, the wolves of the North are not so different. The small folk themselves claim as much, and hide from Lannister and Stark forces alike. So, no longer does the North stand for what Harwin believes. Only the Brotherhood does that. But there is a chance for the union of his two masters. Harwin is the first to urge Thoros to resurrect the deceased Catelyn Stark, and although the man does not, Lord Beric Dondarrion passes his own life into the corpse, handing control of the Brotherhood over to Lady Stoneheart. It is a polarizing decision, but Harwin does not abandon the coalition, unlike many of his allies. He even becomes one of Lady Stoneheart's most devoted men, hinting that an inkling of northern pride may be left in Harwin's jaded soul. Acts committed in a war, especially one so full of malice and deceit as the War of the Five Kings, took their toll most of all on the common people of Westeros. But the forces of the Crown were not the only ones to behave with cruelty and disdain. Even the northern forces, who saw themselves as just, were no gleaming examples of chivalry. Harwin, former household guard for the Starks, and current member of the Brotherhood without banners, saw as much, and chose to align with the men he'd fought beside in the war, rather than the house under which his banner flew. Calls for loyalty tugged at him, urged him to rejoin his previous lords, but he could not abandon the Brotherhood, who he deemed the greatest men amongst the scoundrels of the war. Though he found a new home, it was clear that Harwin possessed a disillusioned heart. So, that's all for this video. Leave a comment with your thoughts. I'd love to hear them. Leave a like if you enjoyed, and subscribe if you're new here. I'd love to have you. Visit my website, russellawellsauthor.com, for exclusive reviews, fiction, and more. And sign up for my mailing list for free, exclusive content. The links for both are in the description below. And, like always, I will see you next time.